Glueman. Now, the old anthropologist was lying on his back on the kitchen floor, thinking about the many happy hours he had spent lying on his back on the kitchen floor. He spent most of his waking hours experimenting with homemade bombs and watching as much television as his retinas could stand. The shitter the better. And sometimes 10th gen 70s pornos when he could be asked going into the other room to get the tapes. This meagre fare was occasionally supplanted by half-kilo bags of generic tortilla chips and a six-pack of express-strength lager that he got from the supermarket, preferably dumped cheap from some Eastern Bloc country. And furthermore, he hadn't had a woman in a decade or a fight in half of that, or a drink since last night despite that. So off the lines were drawn and the old bastard lumbered up from where he'd last collapsed, like it was Godzilla or something. He squinted and tried to get his bloodshot eyes to focus on something. He bounced limply off the walls, heading for the cars in a piss. He couldn't even be bothered putting a joke about micturition here. Whilst he was there, he took the opportunity to retch up a great yellow loogie of something, which he spat in what he hoped was the direction of the toilet bowl, and I expect he missed. Then he went back and he skinned up a couple for the road. He necked something from the dregs of a glass and he pocketed the leftovers, stopping to drink the balance on the way, as he stumbled downstairs and fumbled with the lock. The winter blasted him in the face as he exited into the night. Stars and street lamps were indistinguishable to his knackered old eyesight. A big chopper went over, a searchlight beaming through the pea soup like it was a 1942 Blitz-style thing. Catch the towers of the city on the horizon. It really didn't matter which one it was. Fucking barrage balloons! He went, disoriented. As he ambled on, he thought he was whistling the opening bars to Buffalo Springfield for what it's worth. But actually he was just wheezing asthmatically in time with what he thought was the music. He'd lost the ability to whistle several years previously, but hadn't noticed. Meanwhile, a trinity of hard lads from the primary school were groaning under the footbridge as he turned into the main road. One of them had managed to glue his head inside a plastic bag, and his pals were pointing at him and laughing. When they saw the old fucker coming up to him, one of them pointed at him, and he said, "What a shocking bad hat!" and he lobbed an empty aerosol can at him. The old writer weighed up the odds in a moment. Before he knew it, a wizened fist connected with the face of the first child, who would have been safe if he'd been in school like he should have been. There's a lesson there. The poor kid's nose collapsed. It had been weakened by years of glue love, and now it fell in like a white-pasted tissue. I'm sorry about that. The second came at him brandishing a flick knife. "Call that brandishing!" went the reinvigorated old fuck. "I'll fucking brandish you!" The chiseled toe tip of a winkle picker, soul flapping like a raving dachshund, found its mark satisfyingly in the knackers of the small dog. Went the thuglet, thrifty with words, and simultaneously using a minimum configuration of consonants too. It would be quite a few years before that epithet was admissible in Scrabble. The third, Toff, stayed where he was, micturated himself into blessed unconsciousness, rendered insensible by the spectacle of his comrades' misfortunes, muted by the invocation of those gratuitous scare quotes. "Not a bad start," reckoned the gratuitously violent old fuck. As he sauntered on, he was more jaunty now.